Itchy eye. Hi everyone, Itch the Knee-Eye Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new M.I.A. album, M.I.A. This is a new LP from rapper, singer, and songwriter M.I.A. or M.I.A. It is her 6th full-length LP today and comes 6 years after the release of her last album, AIM, which arguably had the roughest reception of any record she has released so far, and that is including the very polarizing drop that was M.I.A. at the start of the 2010s, due to the way it embraced a lot of very harsh and glitchy internet-influenced aesthetics. I'm glad the record has gotten a bit of a critical reassessment since then. I'm also happy the follow-up, Tangy, also has held on to a pretty positive reception over the years. But M.I.A.'s last project, AIM, in a word I would call uninspired. Much more passionless than any record M.I.A. had dropped up until that point, and I'm not surprised to find that it's taken 6 years to follow this record up. I was hoping if we ever heard another album from M.I.A. again, it would only be under circumstances where she really truly had something to say, especially given how opinionated she's proven to be on all things music, politics, and culture. However, her focus, at least on Twitter as of late anyway, seems to be more on vaccines and crazy false equivalencies with Alex Jones, as opposed to the far-reaching and destructive systems of inequity and bigotry that she typically deals in as recently as the mid-2010s. Thankfully, she avoids kind of poking the bear on these subjects between the lines on this new record here. Also, thankfully, she heads back in a direction aesthetically and instrumentally that feels more akin to something from her first 2 records. But once again, when it comes to energy level, vocal quality, and songwriting, this project feels like we are getting another AIM, as once more, M.I.A. is still coming across very out to lunch, which is disappointing because some of the production on this thing is fantastic. A cross-cultural explosion of sounds, grooves, melodic licks, and flavors from Asia, from Africa, from South America, and absolutely would have been destroyed by an M.I.A. circa 2007, with playful and witty bars, expressive vocalizations, and absolutely addictive choruses, all of which are missing on numerous moments on M.I.A. Like on Freedom is a State of Mind Part 2, which is the first full song on the LP. It's introduced by Freedom is a State of Mind Part 1, which doesn't really feel like a legitimate Part 1 to this track, as it comes off quite disconnected in terms of the instrumental makeup of the track and the eventual segue from one song to the next. But yeah, the second verse on this Part 2 here is quite sleepy and underwhelming. M.I.A. suddenly starts whispering secrets to us over this firestorm of a beat. The wild chant samples and hard-hitting hand drums are really carrying the track. Things fall off even further with the song 100% Sustainable, which in a way is a cool attempt at making a 100% a cappella cut with a group of background singers and chants, some clapping and stomping as well. M.I.A. is rapping over this, but not really on whatever tempo these people are pulling together. Don't know entirely what it is, but there's definitely a disconnect between the background vocals and what M.I.A. is doing on top of it. It doesn't really come off like a full-fledged track. It's more like a blooper you would usually throw at the end of your record to kind of, catch the hardcore fans in a funny moment. The song Beep, I think, is a highlight here, but the more I listen to it, the more I wonder why I enjoy it. Is it because it's a legitimately good track, or that it's just better than 80% of what's here? Because this song, too, is pretty underwritten. It's one of many cuts that are kind of brief on the runtime end, and the abrupt ending leaves me a little cold, too. And while the instrumental does go off, and the beep beep refrain definitely comes out as very bright and sticky, I wouldn't say this is one of M.I.A.'s more genius moments lyrically. The track Energy Freak I found to be yet another production highlight, but once again, Stand Up, Light Up, Jump Up, I don't find to be one of M.I.A.'s better refrains or choruses. Plus, on top of that, her verses are delivered in such a flat and uninspired way, her vocals fail to really cut through the mayhem of this instrumental. So yeah, the production kind of carries on this track, as well as Time Traveler, as well as Zoo Girl, whose numerous awkward lyrical highlights include Tell Me About Your Life, Tell Me About Your Wife, Tell Me About Your Trouble and Strife. The one is a love song taped over a very generic trap beat that is subtly psychedelic. Kind of fits in a very trendy style that's prevalent at the moment. It is passable, not much else. Meanwhile, Popular is yet another single from this record and handily my least favorite song on the entire LP, mostly because the vocals and lyrics on this one come across especially airheaded and conceited in the worst way possible. Plus, of all the songs to make as long as this one is, there's like a bridge on this track and an outro. Meanwhile, there are other much more worthwhile tracks on here that I think could have used a redo on the vocals, maybe an extension on the song structure, but yet we're getting more focus on Popular, a cut that is literally in the bottom 5 of M.I.A. songs. The song KTP or Keep the Peace I found to be another disappointment in the track list. Not because it isn't catchy, the chorus is certainly one of the more melodic on the entire record, but why does this track sound like a boneless version of Paper Planes? From the feel-good chorus to the laid-back, very easygoing beat to the guitar samples, it kind of seems like M.I.A. is trying to reverse engineer her biggest hit and doing a piss-poor job of it. The final moments on this LP leave a bit to be desired too. There's Ma-Ta Life, which is kind of like another short interlude type cut, though I will say, even though M.I.A.'s breath control is not really all that impressive here, she does sound like she's coming alive a little bit on the rapping end. And the closing cut is kind of a grand, hopeful little acoustic number with a lot of huge choral vocals, some solid leads from M.I.A. as well. And while it's nice that it ends the LP on a kind of warm, positive, hopeful note, speaking to the necessity of actual societal change in the world at large, it just kind of sucks that the song's lyrics are a little vague about what exactly is wrong and not all that great about the current paradigm that we're in. However, given M.I.A.'s recent Twitter activity, maybe it's better that things stay general. Also, in a sense, while I do think this track is quite good, it's kind of too little too late at this point. Where were these grand ambitions earlier on the record? The pop sensibility, the beauty was a little lacking through much of this thing. So overall, I will say this album, I'm kind of torn on it. I do like in some respects that it sees M.I.A. going back to some classic formulas and doing them justice to a degree, but only to a degree, because there is so much that this record leaves to be desired. Because the substance and rebellion and novelty and really everything that was originally refreshing about M.I.A. Just is not really here. Sadly. Feeling a light 5 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, M.I.A., Ma-Ta, forever.